Alright, today we're going to do door pins on a first gen Dodge. So, these are actually pretty easy door pins to do. To start, we're going to take a hammer and then punch, and we're going to drive this pin up and out of here. We're going to do the bottom hinge first, then we'll move to the top one. But nothing crazy. I'm just going to come in from down here with a punch, get it on the bottom of the pin, and just use a mini sledge to drive it right up out of the door. You can see it's starting to come out of there, nothing crazy. We're gonna get it the rest of the way out, and then I'll show you what we're gonna do next. Alright, so we got it drove up out of there. It's kind of a pain, but next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take a marker, and we're gonna mark the location of the hinge to the door, because I'm gonna take these 3 bolts out of it, and we're gonna take the hinge off to get access to the bushings. So I'm gonna go get something so I can mark this up, and then we'll get this taken off real quick. Alright, now I get to have fun trying to get this thing fished out of here, because there's a bar that's solid on the back, so we're going to have to kind of get it to walk over and pull out. But once we get this thing out of here, I'll show you what we need to see to get those bushings done. Alright, so we got that out of the way. I already got these pushed out. Somebody called me, I was on the phone when I did it. So one drops down from the top, the other pushes up from the bottom. But these are the ones that came out of it. They're decently worn, but new ones are tapped in there. So now I get to get this latch worked back in and around. Once we get it in place, then we're going to take a new door pin and just carefully tap it down in there. They shouldn't be too bad. This is a little bit of pain. You kind of got to move the door around, which I've got the door supported with a block of wood and a floor jack, and it's still on the top right now. But we just want to be careful while we're doing it. So we got to just loosely bolt it in there, because I'm going to set the hinge after we get the pin through. Got it down. Now, it's going to be a little bit off, so just take your pry bar, come in there. There we go. I'm going to probably need a second hand to do that, but nope, there we go. Now that we've got it through, just a couple good hits to get that pin fully seated. Then we can tighten these back up, and remember how I marked, or told you to mark the hinge? We'll set the hinge so that our marks are there. So it's in a little bit right now, so we pull it out. You can see my scribed lines right there. And that way we know we've got our door back in alignment. So not much to it. I'm gonna tighten these up real quick after I get this pin fully seated, and then we'll move to the top. That's the bottom one fully assembled. We got it lined back up with our marks for where the door hinge should be on the door. Now we're gonna move to the top one. Pretty much gonna be the same process as before. We're gonna get the pin out, take this off, and get the new bushings in. But I don't think this pin is gonna come all the way up without hitting the door, so we'll probably take the hinge off and let the door kind of lay a little bit out so we have the clearance we need to get that pin drove through. Because it looks like it's gonna hit the sheet metal before it comes all the way out. So I got the top one about halfway out, but because I've got the door unbolted, I can kind of push the door back so the hinge will stay here. The door will go up into the jamb a little bit more, and we'll get the clearance we need to get that pin to come all the way out, because it's about to hit the door where we're at right now, but it's about halfway out. So this seems to be working pretty good. I saw a video before on how to do the bottoms, but I never saw anyone explaining how to do the uppers. So a little bit more work because of the clearance and the way the door curves, but so far it doesn't seem too bad. Came out nice and easy. This one's a lot easier actually to get out than the bottom one there. So I just got a pry bar kind of holding the door away. Now, same as before, I just got to get those bushings tapped out of there. Just take a punch. Let's go get a smaller one though, because of the way the door is sitting. One taps out the bottom, one taps out the top. Get the new ones in and throw it right back together. So, top one was pretty easy to get out. Just took a punch, came up through the bottom, tapped it out. Bottom one though, I sat here and thought about it for a minute trying to figure out what to do, and then went and grabbed a 1/4" drive socket, a 7mm snap-on, and it fit right down in there. So I put it on there, which it was sitting up about like this when I dropped it in, and one hit with a hammer, it didn't go all the way through, it didn't get stuck, but it drove that bottom bushing right out of there. So As much as I sat and thought about it, I tried different punches and chisels and stuff, and I just couldn't get anything to give me the right angle. Be able to get that out of there. So, take our 2 new bushings now, get them drove in there, and then same as before, we'll just get it all hammered back together and bolt it back on, and that'll be it. That'll be a set of door pins. All right, now the test. See how it closes. Oh, seems to be quite a bit better. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. So I got that socket sitting in there. Just take your hammer, drives it right out. Socket back, and there we go. That's how I did it on the other side. And it's the easiest way I found to do the top. It's just a 1/4" drive socket. So they aren't bad. I'm gonna finish up this last one right here, and all the door pins will be done on this truck. Overall, not too bad. It takes about ½ hour aside on the first one. The second one I'm probably only 10 or 15 minutes into now that I've already got the tools out and I know what I'm doing with them. They're really not bad at all. Just take your time and make sure that you get the door line back up correctly is the biggest thing.